The first thing Commander Ilyave noticed about the human was that he looked bored while the moon was dying. Alarms screamed through the survey frigate, and the silver face of Nysa Minor split open beneath them. But the man in the auxiliary pilot seat tightened one glove and watched the fracture spread calmly. Ilya had never seen anyone that relaxed while a moon started to fall. That was when she decided Captain Rowan Hale was either a fool or something far more dangerous. He had joined the mission at the last minute. Human, civilian, contract pilot, that was all his file said. And Ilya had believed it because humans were still new to Coalition space. Rowan fit the pattern, easy grin. He followed orders and stayed out of the scientist's way. Then the moon cracked wider, gravity lurched sideways, and every screen turned savage with warning symbols. "Brace now," she shouted. But the frigate was already rolling as a huge shard tore free from Nysa Minor and dropped toward the colony world below. 40 million people lived under that sky, and the fragment was only the first. More pieces were breaking loose, each one large enough to erase a city. Then the moon started falling, and every clever plan became decoration. Ilya fought the controls. But her ship was built for surveys and escorts, not for wrestling a dying moon. The engines shuddered, power bled from the drive core, and the navigation grid fractured into futures. None survivable. She ordered retreat, send the warning, save the ship. The only sane choice. But Rowan did not move. He studied the debris field, then said, "If that lead shard clips the lower belt first, it will ricochet inward. You will not be warning cities. You will be naming craters," she snapped, that he was a pilot, not an analyst, and he answered, "Today, I am whatever keeps them alive." Before she could stop him, he reached across her console and cut every flight limiter on the ship. Every safeguard meant to stop desperate crews from killing themselves in impossible maneuvers. The bridge went quiet for half a heartbeat. Then the frigate roared. "Are you insane?" she hissed. And Rowan smiled without looking at her. "Not insane, Commander. Human." There are moments when history forgets how to breathe. He took the frigate straight down into the debris storm. Not away from it, deeper. The science team screamed from the aft chamber, and Ilya locked both hands to her chair, because no trained Coalition pilot would ever choose the path Rowan chose. He skimmed spinning rock with meters to spare, used shock waves from colliding fragments to sling the ship faster, cut through dust that blinded every system except the manual scopes, and flew by instinct so sharp it stopped feeling like instinct at all. She watched his hands and realized he was not reacting to danger. He was shaping it. Every impossible turn became the setup for the next. Every near collision a tool. Then the moon rolled again, and a glowing wound opened inside it. A deep fracture where old mining tunnels had hollowed the core. Rowan saw it instantly if they hit that weakness with enough force. The moon would keep breaking, but the largest shard might shift just enough to miss the colony lanes. It was not a rescue plan. It was an insult hurled at physics. And the human beside her accepted it like a profession. He asked for weapons control. She refused. He asked again, quieter. And there was something under his calm now. Duty. So she gave him the guns. Human courage, she realized. It was not noble. It was feral. Their survey frigate had no right to carry mass drivers that heavy. But frontier exploration encouraged creative paperwork. Rowan armed every barrel, rerouted life support reserves into the thrusters, and aimed the ship directly at the falling shard. Ilya finally understood his plan, and terror hollowed her out. He was going to land on the fragment while it plunged, drive the frigate across its surface, and fire into the core fracture from point-blank range. No admiral would approve it. No sane species would write it down. Then the hull slammed onto the shard with a scream of metal. Gravity flipped, sparks burst from the ceiling, and half the bridge died in darkness. Rohan rode the impact like rough weather, skidding the frigate over ice and stone while the colony world swelled beneath them. 40 million lives rushing closer under a sky full of fire. Smaller debris hammered past, the shard tilted, and the whole broken mountain began its final plunge. Rowan laughed once. Because in that moment he was not surviving catastrophe, he was hunting it. "Hold on," he said, and drove the frigate up the rising slope until they reached the glowing crack at the fragment's heart. He fired every gun they had, once, twice, then bled the engines into the third shot. The recoil punched through the fracture. The shard groaned, rolled, and lurched sideways. Not far, but enough. Just enough. It screamed through the upper atmosphere in a burning arc and vanished into the southern ocean, where steam climbed, instead of cities turning to ash. For one impossible second, even gravity seemed afraid. The bridge went still, except for dying circuits and ragged breathing. Their ship drifted free on emergency thrust. Wounded but alive, behind them, Nisa Minor kept breaking apart. But the worst path had changed. Warning fleets were already rising from the world below. Rescue grids unfolding, millions still had a morning ahead of them. Ilya turned to Rowan and saw blood running from a cut at his temple. And for the first time since the crisis began, he looked ordinary. Too fragile for what she had just watched him do. "Who are you?" she asked. Rowan leaned back and gave her a tired half-smile. "Just a pilot," he said then after a pause. "Where I come from, Commander, that has never meant just anything." Later, the official reports would call it a miracle, but Ilya would remember it more simply. When a moon began to fall and whole worlds prepared to die, the human beside her did not ask whether survival was likely. He simply took hold of the impossible and flew straight at it. And from that day onward, whenever anyone in the coalition said humanity was too young, too reckless, too loud, Commander Ilya Vey would remember a battered man landing on a falling moon. And answer with perfect certainty, yes, and thank the stars for that.